Okay, can we start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we will discuss about functions of family today. It is not directly there in your syllabus, but there can be question from functions related to family. So I'll discuss these areas. Today I'll discuss about functions. Okay, functions of family. Then we will also talk about structure of family. Mainly we talk about structural changes in family and what are the reason why these changes, what are the changes in structure and what are the reasons for change in structure. And then we will move on to discuss about joint family system in India. Okay, so this is what we are planning to cover. So let's start with functions of family. So this is a common introduction. I'm not going to give you this in a paragraph form, so bullet points are there, that too not completely written. So you need to develop your answer. Since it is not there in your paper, I'm not preparing the PDF for this. Okay, so this is not in the answer format, but I'll tell you how to write if it is a short note, if it is a long question. So you can give this introduction. Family as an institution is considered universal. One or the other form of family exists in all known societies. The existence of family must be seen in terms of recognition to its structure and the specific function which is culturally assigned to it. Okay, so the structure of family briefly, mainly if you talk about what is the structure of family, there will be a husband, wife, child, maybe the parents. Okay, so that's the structure of family. Different structures of family we have already seen, and the specific function. So family provides certain functions which is culturally assigned to it. So this is a brief introduction. Now when we talk about the function, your answer should have 4 dimensions. Firstly, you will be talking about the functions which is discussed by various thinkers. So you will be starting with few thinkers, maybe 2 or 3 thinkers that you know. I'm giving you here around 5 thinkers. Okay, so you need to write around 2-3, mainly Murdoch and Parson. These two are the most important persons, and to an extent Ogburn, Nimcoff also you can write. So maximum these 3 if you can remember, or it's up to you. These two are the most important people, right? Murdoch, G.P. Murdoch, yesterday also we have discussed about him, and Parsons. So the first part of your answer will be functions as discussed by the thinkers. Then you need to write subjective predisposition. Tell me, what do you mean by the subjective predisposition? Can anyone tell me? What is this? What do you mean by subjective predisposition? Subjective predisposition means manifest function, right? So we will see manifest function and social function. Social function means latent function only. Okay, so you have to identify manifest function, latent function. So if you remember the paradigm, Merton's paradigm that we have discussed, so what he was saying, he's saying you have to go for a post factum analysis. That means so far the theories which have been conducted, analyze it. That's what we are doing in this part. We are talking about the thinkers. Then what we are doing, we are talking about the subjective predisposition, means we are trying to identify the manifest function. Then we are trying to identify the societal function, social function or societal function, that is a latent function. We have discussed in detail about this. Then you also need to talk about dysfunctions, right? So it can be manifest dysfunction, it can be latent dysfunction. So dysfunction we will write from the point of view of thinkers. You don't want to write anything. So because these are radical views, so we will quote the thinkers and we will write the dysfunction. Now you don't want to go for net balance or alternatives here. Apart from that, with this itself you can complete. Okay, so if even if the question is related to functions, you also have to talk about dysfunction. Many a times I've told you in the class why you need to write that. So how to make a balanced answer. So when you're writing dysfunction, you're actually using a conflict perspective, right? So you're bringing a new perspective, or it can be a neo-functional perspective. Even Merton also talking about dysfunction. So you also have to identify the dysfunction in your answer. So functions, so this is how functions is discussed by thinkers. Okay, then you have to go for the manifest function. Okay, then you have to go for the social function or societal function or the latent function, the hidden function, then the dysfunctions. Okay, so if you go with the functions as discussed by thinkers, the first one, G.P. Murdoch is giving 4 functions. Okay, Parsons 2 function, Ogburn Nimkov, 5 functions. Durkheim was talking about function. Ronald Fletcher is also giving certain functions. Now you can find all these in essential sociology. Apart from that, if you see Harlem Bose, you will find this all functions. Apart from that, IGNO material also you will find all this. Okay, so I'm expecting all of you have this essential sociology, so you can get it directly. Now here also I will tell you, I haven't incorporated in the PDF, I have just written the name. Okay, so when you go for GP Murdoch, in his book Social Structure, those who want to, you can take it down now, only just 4 points. Okay, in his book Social Structure, he's talking about 4 functions. So what are the 4 functions according to him? First one is economic function. That means family is giving an economic security to individual. Family is the agent, which is the initial, in economic placement of the individual. I've told you when we discussed about Marx, when a person is born, he is born in classes. So from birth to, it is a family who is fixing your economic position. It is a economic security also. Family work as an economic unit also. So all those things we have seen in the definition also in the family are an economic unit. Okay, so even the traditional definition and in the more liberal definition also we have seen this as the most important point. So second one is it controls reproduction. So reproduction is another function of family. Third one, it regulates sexual relation. So sexual gratification. In the previous session also we have discussed about Murdoch. I've told you all these points there also. The culturally acceptable or socially acceptable sexual gratification or sexual relation between 2 adults of both sex. Okay, then socialization of children. So I've told you this is the first association. Family is the first association. Family in itself is an institution as well as an association, and family is the first association in which any person is actually a member, and family is the socialization agent for any person in the beginning. So this topic is actually there in your ethics paper also. Okay, sources of ethics, and there family, the role of family in that context you need to prepare. So family is actually doing the socialization of children. That is one important function of family. So these are the 4 functions according to GP Murdoch. Every textbook, any textbook related to family, if you see, without this, no textbook will be there. So either you can write it down. That's why I have only written the names, and since it is not there in the syllabus, we are not focusing in the actual write-up. Okay, so here that 4 functions. Then when it comes to Parsons, this is also common. Harlem Bose, everywhere you will find Parsons. Primary socialization of children. Primary socialization of children. Like exactly the same point is what this Murdoch also discussed. So socialization of children is one of the most important role. And then stabilization of adult personality. Okay, when we are growing up, the personality stabilization is also done by family. Okay, and when we discussed about adaptation, goal attainment, integration, latency, AGIL model, there also we have discussed latency with the context of family, right? So tension management, etc. That's what we mean by personality stabilization. So here stabilization of adult personality. Okay, so these are the 2 functions according to Parsons. Then if you go for Ogburn and Nimkov, these are direct, easy only. First one, affectional, and then economic. Affectional means it is a emotional connection. Okay, emotional security. So economic security, economic placement of individual. Then third one, recreation. Okay, then protection and educational. Protection or protective and educational. Okay, so these are the 5 functions Ogburn and Nimkov highlighting. Then if you go for Ronald Fletcher, not all these thinkers are required. 1 or 2, maybe maximum 3 is enough, because you are going to write other dimensions also. In dysfunction also you are going to write the thinkers. Apart from that, manifest function, latent function, you need to write from your own observation. You can borrow from the thinkers, but you don't want to quote too much of thinkers, okay? Ronald Fletcher. I've seen a lot of papers, a lot of students are writing the test series, so I can see that all these people are just filling the answer sheet with the thinkers. That will give an opinion that you don't have any view, you don't have any perspective, so you just learn these points from somewhere and just reproducing it. So that cannot be a sociological answer. If I'm just writing what all things I've told you in bullet points, this is not a sociological answer. That doesn't reflect the personality or the knowledge that you have. Okay, so any answer, if it is 20 marker, the main objective is not only the content, it should reflect that personality or that, you know, knowledge and the depth also. 10 marker you can write just like this in bullet point, but 20 marker, that won't do. Okay, so Ronald Fletcher also talked about multifunctional family. A lot of functions are there for family, so he is giving multiple functions. Every thinker is doing the same thing. So basic functions exist and other functions are, you know, reinvented. Okay, so basic functions means emotional security, economic security, sexual gratification, etc. And few other functions also reinvented. Okay, so if you look into individual perspective, firstly physical security from the childhood, right? Physical security is there. Then emotional or psychological security, then economic security. Everybody, these contents are there. That is what I mean by elementary functions are there, basic functions are there. Apart from that, few others also. Legitimate means of sexual gratification. Okay, so sexual gratification, entertainment. Okay, then it gives ready-made status. It could be class status, it could be caste status. When you are born in a particular family, you will be getting that caste status of that family and the class status of that family, right? So ready-made status. And then what Parsons said, exactly the same thing, initial socialization or primary socialization. So initial socialization, only maybe the words different, concept is same, initial socialization. Now the changing trends, if you see the changing trends, individual basically now relies more on peers and friends for securities, right? Especially emotional security, the psychological security, etc. So apart from this, there are rise of alternatives, right? I have told you when we discussed about Merton, one of the function of family is taking care of child. Now for that there are alternatives. Taking care of old, there are alternatives. Okay, there are hospitals. Okay, the play schools, for entertainment, multiplexes and media. Everything, there is nothing which is only provided by family. Okay, even sexual gratification also not necessarily family. So these are the changing trends according to this person, Fletcher. Okay, then adult personality stabilization. So we have discussed about primary socialization and adult personality stabilization. So that role is nowadays taken care by law, police, etc. So judiciary, they will take care of the adult personality stabilization. Okay, now if you look into societal perspective, these are individual perspective. Societal perspective, family actually provide members to society. So family provide members to society. Okay, so it is also act as, you know, an agent of cultural transmission. But this is a case before. Nowadays mostly media, schools, etc., schools, friends, etc., playing the major role in cultural transmission. There is a change in culture, and all these are because of media, school, friends, etc. Then societal perspective, another point you can write as it is a mechanism of social control. Mechanism of social control. But here also it is changing now. I have told you already, law, police, etc., right, will take care of the social control. Again, when we discuss about unit of economic production, because ready-made jobs are earlier but now focus is on corporate jobs, better social mobility, better geographical mobility. So that is a focus now. So there is a change in this trend also. So what we have discussed now is basically from the individual perspective and societal perspective. But most of the functions are same. You just need to say that some of the functions are now changing. There are alternatives, okay? So I hope you understood. Okay, and Ronald Fletcher, he actually gave a conclusion that he says functions of family actually increased. Okay, because family is actually providing or making the necessary provision for training and choices of individual. So family is the reason why you are attending these classes. Family is actually helping you to go for training, not only these classes from your childhood onwards, the school in which you're studying, the training that you're getting, the choices that you're selecting. Family is playing a very key role. So in the modern society, in the individualistic society where everything is based on mobility, goal, okay, but still family is what actually shaping your goal mostly and providing the necessary training to reach that goals and everything. So the function of family is increasing in the modern society rather than decrease. Okay. So are we done with this? Next is we will see subjective predisposition. This is not a big one. This is not that difficult. Subjective predisposition means manifest functions. Okay, so you will write economic security or emotional security, physical security, mental security, sexual gratification, provision of socialization, and reputation means status. Okay, so you are getting the status when you are born. So these are manifest functions. Then these are latent functions. Okay, latent functions, manifest here, latent function, or objective consequences or objective manifestations. Objective manifestations. So cultural transmission. So this is what? This is a societal perspective I have told you. This is what? This is the individual perspective I have told you. The intention or the meanings attached by the individuals. So here, societal perspective. So we are talking about functions by thinkers, then the individual perspective, then societal perspective, then dysfunctions. Okay. So here, tension management, care of the aged, all these are societal perspective that we have already discussed, right? Mechanism of social control, okay? Then cultural transmission, we have discussed it. Reproduction, here you can add reproduction, okay? Tension management, okay? Care for the aged, care for the child, all these we can write here. You need to elaborate it, everything you need to explain in your language. Latent function, few more latent functions have written here. Family as the unit of economic production, economic placement of individual. I have already told all these points. So you can connect this, okay? So it is actually a continuation. Now dysfunctions, these are specific views of thinkers. You don't want to write anything here from your side. Okay, family as a status quoist. Status quoist means it won't promote change. It won't promote social change. So family is actually shaping you to accommodate and adapt to the situation. So if this particular job, the bureaucratic job is good, means family will always tell you to go with this job. Teacher's job is found good, means family will force you to go with that job, right? So it is a kind of status quoist, and family won't promote revolution according to Marx, and that is the reason why workers are getting exploited. So family is the reason why the revolution is not actually happening. Family is suppressing the emotions of the individual. Family is the agent of capitalist who is controlling the revolution. So family is actually helping in maintaining emotions, and that is the development of consciousness, etc. is actually prevented by the family. So family is actually a status quoist, or family promotes status quoist according to Marx. Now David Cooper, what he's saying is in his book Death of Family, he considers family as an ideological conditioning device, okay, in an exploitative society. So David Cooper is also a Marxist, so he's saying family is an ideological conditioning device. So family condition your mind in such a way that you will go and work in this particular domain and you will not question anything, you will be submissive, etc. Okay. Then Edmund Leach, R.D. Lang, Margaret Benston. So Margaret Benston is actually talking about sexual abuse, unpaid labor of female. Okay, and then Karl Marx, that is what status quest I've told you. Status quest, family assures conformity to the individual, conformity of the individual, and submitting to the capitalist for the exploitation. Status quest idea. Family is a neutralist device. It prevents creativity of a child. Okay. Then corruption is because of family, because people are becoming more ambitious. Ambitious family. This we will study in paper 2 also, the study Krishna Kumar study. So corruption is the reason. There is a family behind every corrupt man. Okay. Sexual abuse we have written here. Neutralization, that is also written somewhere. Okay. So these are the criticisms, and you can see here Murray Strauss says marriage license is a hitting license. So it shows the sexual abuse, it shows the domestic violence, etc. Edmund Lee says the parents and the children huddle together in their loneliness, expect too much out of each other, the parents fight and the children rebel. Expectations actually hurting the family. So this is how you need to write the answer. You should talk about, so that is a structure, talk about the function. So I would recommend you to go for essential sociology for this particular topic. It is very beautifully covered. All the thinkers are covered over there. You will get all these thinkers. You may get some 2 additions also. Okay, so this is manifest function, this is latent function. So you write it down in your note: manifest, latent and dysfunction. Here we are not separating manifest and latent, but we are writing the dysfunctions as discussed by the thinkers. So that will give you a very good answer. Okay, any doubt? We can discuss now.